Apple announced the new Apple Vision Pro a little over a month ago, and that was the exact time in which I actually got to personally sit down and try it out for around 30 to 40 minutes. I made an initial video, kind of going over my experience, but I was kind of in shock about the whole experience, and so I'll try to go over quickly my experience again, and also we'll highlight some of the new information that's come out about the headset over the last month, and I'll try to answer any new questions that might have come up again over the last month. Now, one of the latest bits of information is that Apple has been forced to make some drastic cuts to production due to the complexity of the design and difficulties in production with the whole headset in general. Now, Apple has said to have been unhappy with the productivity of manufacturing partners that are tasked with supplying the two micro OLED displays for the wearer's eyes and the outward-facing curved lenticular lens. Now, the micro OLED displays were reportedly supplied by Sony and TSMC for the prototypes, but it's not known who is supplying them at the larger scale. Now, as a result of production challenges, Apple is preparing to make fewer than 400,000 units in 2024, meaning if you're trying to be one of the first people to reserve the new headset, you're going to need to be very, very quick. We do know that the initial launch will be US only, but we also got a little bit more information that Apple is apparently planning the United Kingdom and Canada as two of the first international markets to get the mixed reality headset by the end of 2024, according to Bloomberg's Mark Gurman. And Gurman also said that Apple is looking at bringing the Vision Pro to Europe and Asia soon after, with Apple engineers working to localize the device for France, Germany, Australia, China, Hong Kong, Japan, and Korea. And if and when you do finally get your hands on one, and if you plan to take it on a plane, there seems to be a new hidden feature that's been uncovered in the Vision OS beta that went live a few weeks ago for developers. And that feature is called Travel Mode, which is specifically aimed at enhancing user experience while on board an airplane, which is just an A in my book because that's the only other way I can envision myself using a Vision Pro outside of the comfort of my own home. Also, there are new reports from Mark Gurman that suggest Apple is planning to have the headset be a purchase by appointment only basis, which makes a lot of sense because you do actually need to get a few things set up, and it's kind of more of a tailored fit for every user type deal and not like a one size fits all. And it's, if you require prescription lenses, well, then that's a whole new ball game that I didn't quite get a whole lot of info on how that process is going to work. But you're going to need to get a few scans done. And just to kind of recap my experience that I had last month, I did have a Face ID type scan done on an iPhone, as well as a spatial audio test. And I do not wear glasses or contacts, so I was just kind of good to move on with my demo. And my demo was an incredible experience. The software, the hardware, it all felt unlike any other AR VR headset that I have ever tried. The demo features that Apple chose for us to test were really, really solid, and I'm anticipating those features to get even better between now and the 6 to 10 months that we have until the device is actually gonna get released. Plus, I didn't even get to see what third-party developers could do with their own apps on Apple Vision Pro, and so that'll be a whole other interesting piece to the puzzle and the way that we use the headset. And while I really enjoyed the 3D photos and videos that were taken on the Vision Pro, that was kind of one of my favorite demos. Again, that was that whole thing. A lot of people were laughing at my comment about me being at this birthday party. It's filmed with those cameras that are on the Apple Vision Pro, and you're at the birthday party and you kind of feel like you're a part of that family. And when the candles were blown out, the smoke came at you and it just felt like a surreal experience. And that is something that I really think is going to be a huge selling point for some people, but only, in my opinion, if you can kind of take those same quality videos with your phone. So the next generation iPhone is going to need to get that camera technology because it's so much more inconspicuous to be able to take your phone out at a birthday party and film people singing happy birthday, opening up the presents, all of that. That's going to be something that you would feel more comfortable just taking out your phone like you do already and filming those special moments. And you don't feel like you have this giant headset and then you all of a sudden become the center of attention when maybe that's not the case for the actual moment that you're trying to capture. Or maybe you're out camping and you're taking a look at a historical landmark that's crazy. You don't want to wear that thing on your head. But if your iPhone had that same camera technology that could take those 3D photos and videos, well, that's a whole, or the spatial photos and videos, whatever Apple is going to call that feature, that's a whole different ballgame, and something that I think a lot of people are going to be more inclined to pick up a headset for, because then you can relive those moments in the comfort of your own home. Or if FaceTime gets that feature, maybe you have an older relative at home that couldn't make it to a birthday party, maybe somebody was sick, but they really want to be there with their family, or at least feel like they're there with their family. If I'm filming, set up my phone maybe on a stand, and I've got the whole, birthday being filmed, and that person's at their house wearing an Apple Vision Pro, then that just makes way more sense to me, as opposed to me having to walk around with this thing on my head while my son or daughter is opening up their presents and we're singing happy birthday. I just think it really takes away from that moment if someone has to wear that the whole time. I also enjoyed the really quick demo of getting to work with some of the apps and browsing the web and using Safari. And again, the eye tracking and the pinching gestures and all of that were really intuitive, and getting to have 3 to 4 giant windows is like carrying around 3 giant studio displays with you at all times, and you just don't have that capability right now. And it could perhaps maybe replace some larger external monitors for some people in the future moving forward with the headset, and using your Mac and using the headset and getting work done. Now, watching content was also a really good experience, and I think that's the way a lot of people are obviously going to use this device at most, from right off the bat when you get this headset. But a lot of shows are also being specifically filmed for this headset, and so the experience should only get better. And that's also the other biggest area that Apple will be putting a lot of emphasis in, and rightfully so. There were some experiences like the dinosaur thing that I explained earlier, where like a hole opens in the wall and it like a dinosaur comes at you and sniffs around you, and it did feel pretty realistic. They had me stick my finger out and a butterfly landed on my finger and it went with me whenever I moved my hand. That stuff was cool, but that's not stuff that we're going to be doing, in my opinion, all the time. Maybe your kids will do it here and there, and if games and things and other third-party apps are taking advantage of that experience, then that's a different story. But like, that's not a demo that I'm going to revisit more than once. But watching sports and watching, movies and Apple TV Plus shows, some of the experiences that I had from that regard was so much better. And that is the thing that I want Apple to really, really dive into, because it can make the headset such a selling point for some people. Now, with that said, it wasn't all great right off the bat. I mean, the fit was a bit of an issue for me, but I do want to preface again by saying they had limited units available and all of the custom inserts were not present, so it can't fit everyone's face perfectly. We kind of had to just work with what we had, and the headset was slightly heavier than I was anticipating, and probably the reason for the like slight droop down that I had. I really had to use that modular overhead piece, and I had to tighten that thing quite a bit. But after I did that, it was really necessary for me to get a good fit. And so when I did get a good fit, I could see the crystal clear OLED displays that Apple was hyping up, and just how great the experience is compared to some of the other headsets. But again, fit is important. If it starts to get away from your face a little bit, or if it starts to droop down, then it starts to have that haze effect that you don't really want. But it took me a bit. I was adjusting it, but after I got it perfectly set, my experience was, again, unlike any other headset that I have tried. And so that was, again, my experience from the 30 to 40 minutes of using Apple Vision Pro that I had last month at WWDC. I am looking forward to trying it again. It's like kind of getting a taste of something, and then you experienced it and it was really, really good. You just want to do it again. But of course, I'm going to have to wait like the rest of you. But hopefully this answers some of the more, questions that have popped up over the last month that you might have had. If it didn't, please leave a comment down below. If you look at the last video, I was very active in answering other people's questions if I forgot something. Or you can hit me up on Twitter. Instagram Threads is a new thing now. You can hit me up there if you want to. But yeah, reach out and I will do my best to answer all of your questions. This has been Dan with Mac Rumors. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you around in the next video.